Hey Shakti, how are you?
I'm fine, sir. What about you?
I'm good. Okay, great. So are we good to start? I don't see Sri Lanka around nowadays. What's happening? Not here.
He have some work, I think.
Okay, fine. No worries. All right, okay. Are we good to start?
Yes, yes.
Okay, thanks. Thanks for having me, Shakti. Hey people, good evening. Welcome back to Cornerstone Weaving Workplace. I'm your host, RJ Rudra from Detach. And it's Friday, 5:30 p.m. The perfect time to wind down, correct? It's a Friday evening. All of us are looking forward for the weekend. And as we unwind into the weekend, I would just want to talk about something on the show called Cornerstone Weaving Workplace, which could help us reflect and gear up for the fantastic weekend. I'm on DC Live, where we care, we share, and we are on air. This evening, we are going to talk about a topic that touches every one of us, right? Every single one of us, regardless of the role we play, the project we work, or the center we are working. I'm going to talk about something very basic, which is how to talk to anyone. Okay. Very important under the Cornerstone Weaving Workplace, because this one topic helps you weave at your workplace, right? That's what helps you knit people together. Human dynamics starts with how to talk to anyone. Okay. You might ask me, I talk to people all the time. And I wouldn't deny that. You would be right. But the two questions that you need to ask is, are we always connecting effectively? Are we always making the most of these interactions? And that's what I'm going to explore today. We'll be looking at various facets of communication, from those critical first hellos to building lasting professional relationship. Okay. Now it's going to be something that you keep doing, but change the way you're doing it. So it's a refining the art of connection in your daily work life. Okay, let's start. What are we going to look at? Something basic, right? You must have heard this. First impression. Okay. Have you ever heard this? You never get a second chance to make the first impression. I repeat, you never get a second chance to make the first impression. And that's very true. And in the workplace, this couldn't be truer, right? Whether it's a new colleague, a client, even a casual encounter in the hallway or a cafeteria. Okay. The initial interaction sets the tone. Okay. It's not about what you say, but how you present yourself. A genuine smile, direct eye contact, and an open posture can speak volumes before even a single word is uttered. Think about it. When someone approaches you with warmth and confidence, aren't you naturally more inclined to engage? I'm not letting you know that you got to put in an act, be dramatic. No, that's not. I'm talking about. It's about being present, being approachable, and showing a sincere interest in the person you're meeting and you're interacting with. A firm handshake, remembering a name, offering a relevant positive comment. These are the things that I'm talking about. These small gestures can open doors to much larger conversations and opportunities for you. That's the first impression. Now, let's get to the next event or the step. So, you've made a great first impression. How do you keep that momentum going? Sometimes you make it blank because you are well prepared for the first impression, and you should be getting to the next stage of talking business, but then there's that vacuum, there's that gap. How do you do that? How do you bridge that gap? You need to build a genuinely good conversation. How do you do that? It's not about the brilliant things you might have to say, but also about being a brilliant listener of, how do you make the other person speak? One option that I always use is ask open-ended questions. The ones that can't be answered with a simple yes or a no. Okay. This encourages the other person to share more. And when they do, you listen. Okay. And also do not wait for the conversation to be one-sided. Engage with what they are saying. Reflect on it. Okay. And you can show that you're listening by nodding, making eye contact, even briefly summarizing what they said, and meaningfully and respectfully intervening and engaging in the conversation. Good conversations are like a dance or like a song which goes back and forth. It's about finding common ground, exploring ideas, and sometimes simply enjoying the exchange of thoughts. The goal is not to win the conversation. The goal is to connect. It's not about how well you spoke. It's about how well you connected with the other person. That's what I'm talking about. Now, two things have happened. You made the first impression. You have started off a good conversation. Getting good at a small talk. How do you extend this? Okay. For some, it's a dreaded chore. For some, it's an easy icebreaker. But no matter where you stand, it's something that you need to do. The key to getting good small talk is not about avoiding it, but to see it as a stepping stone. Okay. Discuss about, but by now with these talks, you may have understood what's the philosophies they're interested in, what's the business style they might be interested in. Sometimes just human experiences, whether they recently following the news, is that what you're talking about, a local event or something happening at office. This can help you get the conversation better. So you made the first impression, started off with a good conversation. Now you turn that conversation into a good small talk. Now the fourth one is to build a rapport, right? Building rapport. Beyond small talk and good conversations, there's a deeper layer. Building rapport. That is being like-mindedness, okay, and also building trust and mutual understanding between each of the parties having a conversation. Rapport isn't something you force. It's something you just cultivate over time. Let it flow. It's about showing empathy, respectfully understanding perspectives of others, finding genuine commonalities. So when you demonstrate that you understand someone's challenges or appreciate their contributions, you begin to build a connection and making that stronger. The tools that you can use here is active listening, remembering details about the previous conversations, and sometimes even light humor can contribute to stronger rapport. It's like a bridge. Each positive interaction, each moment of understanding, and another plank of the bridge is placed, making future communication smoother and more predictable. 4 things are done. You build a rapport, and then look at recognizing appreciations, especially when they are from your peer group or from you're from a group which is which possibly is working in a team where you kind of directly or indirectly manage them. So it can have a very profound impact. Appreciations, prize, and then simply call out that the instruction, that the meal that you sent out, the presentation that you had made, I have heard a lot about you, and then see if you can recall the name and use that name in the conversations. That's very, very important. 5 things are done right now. First thing was you went ahead and made a first impression. Second, you had a good conversation initiation. Third, you got a small talk connected. Fourth was a building rapport. Fifth was you found an opportunity to ensure that you give credits to them, and then you're aware of what they're doing. So you're done with 5 things. Now I'm going to talk about another 5 things here, which makes it 10 of them. One of them is being a very sounding professional is what I'm talking about, right? So in the workplace, how we sound is just as important as what we say. Sounding professional is not about, most of us make this mistake. When we want to sound professional, we want to use some, flabbergasted, correct? That's the word you want to use. You want to use some jargons, you want to use some complicated sentences. No, sounding professional is about clarity, confidence, and respect. Maybe you can use simple words, okay? But one thing, avoid slangs, okay? Especially don't use words like chill, bro, and all of that. So don't do that. Don't get overly casual sometimes, in formal settings. And ensuring your tone matches the situation is very, very important. Even in casual conversations, maintain a level of professionalism, show respect for your role and your colleagues, okay? Now you got to be articulate, speaking clearly, and pacing yourself, okay? Now practice articulating your thoughts concisely. When you sound professional, you convey credibility and competence, which is very, very important in building trust and influence. Now we've spoken about the tone. The next thing is you got to be very careful about, because you've had a good conversation. Now you got to maintain the boundaries and the focus, right? So while building rapport and good relationship involves personal connection, it is also important to understand when to separate business topics from leisure discussions, okay? In professional setting, especially during meetings or when deadlines are pressing, the focus needs to remain on work. While a quick, friendly chat can be great, extending a personal conversation at that point may be distracting. So it's about reading the complexion of the conversation, understanding the context, and knowing when to switch between business and leisure. That's very, very important. Okay. Now, any meeting, not necessarily a business meeting, any meeting when you know that you're going to talk to someone, when you're meeting someone, preparing for that meeting is very, very important, right? So preparing for that meeting is important. Prepare, and then it's a part of your communication. Meeting is a part of communication, and you need to prepare yourself, meaning you need to know what's the agenda of the meeting, understanding the objectives of this, and having your points ready is very, very important. When you're prepared, you can contribute more meaningfully, ask relevant questions, and participate actively without feeling lost. Okay, that's where the preparation comes. Now, the next two steps I'm talking about is not necessarily the communication. So this is all about in person. Now think about it that you want to have a phone call. Okay, in a digital age, phone calls might seem less frequent. It's more on the emails and your chats, office messages, but then phone calls are also very important. And the way you speak virtually on a meeting, like a web meeting, right? So like Google Meet, Zoom, or any of them, is like very important. It also only reflects your voice, right? So they exhibit your emotions. Okay, that means using your voice, answering professionally, speaking clearly, moderate pace, and actively listening without visual cues, right? So you're not looking at the person, so how can you use it? And your tone especially, right? It conveys a lot when the other person can't really see your facial expressions. Sometimes be attentive. If you want to make notes, make your notes, and always understand what are you talking about from there. So it's very, very important. Okay. And the last one is, how do you close a conversation, right? So you started a conversation really good at making the first impression. Now you circle back with all of these just to not make an abrupt closure to conversation. Like how making a strong entrance is an impact, closing the conversation, and you walking out of that meeting and conversation is also very, very important. Quickly, sometimes it may be important that if there's any action items that you both wanted to talk about, or what is the next meeting about, or when is the next meeting about, close it with all of that, close that conversations with. If you really do not have it, exchange pleasantries, exchange good lucks, good wishes, and close it very, very positively with the confidence. Keep the conversations open, because if sound is an approachable person, give that approachability and a positive attitude. Okay, when you're closing off a conversation, still stand tall, make eye contact, and offer a friendly greeting and a gesture to close the conversation as well. Okay, that gives you a great platform to have healthy conversations going forward. Okay, great. It shows that you're ready, willing, and available to have healthy conversations. That's what it is. All right, people. So that brings us to the end of this episode of Cornerstone Weaving Workplace. So we spoke about in the last few minutes, we spoke about how to talk to anyone. I'm sure all of you must have thought, is that really something that we need to be talking about? Definitely is. How to talk to anyone is very, very important. We've conveyed everything from those crucial first impressions to the nuances of building rapport. How do you give a shout out like a prize, navigating various professional communication scenarios, and also how do you pleasantly close a conversation. Okay. Remember, communication isn't just about conveying information. It's about building bridges, fostering a very healthy understanding, strengthening our professional relationships. And each interaction is an opportunity to learn, to connect, and to grow. By being mindful, present, and considerate, we can all become effective communicators. That's all the time for this week's Cornerstone Weaving Workplace. You've been listening to your favorite RJ Rudra from Detach, encouraging you to weave stronger connections in your workplace. Tune in next Friday at 5:30 p.m. for another insightful discussion on Cornerstone Weaving Workplace. And as always on DC Live, we care, we share, and we are on air. Thank you. Thank you, Shakti.